In my head, I was adamant that I wanted to have a career, I wanted to build something of my own, and because I also wanted to break this old age norm of men being the sole bread earners of the family.
You're watching Hustler Stories with Ambika Anand. My guest today is Sachali Jain. She is the founder of Sachali Artisan Bakehouse. Her bread is the reason many people wake up in the morning. The brand was born in the year 2017. In the year 2020-21, their turnover was 4 crore rupees, which jumped to 23 crore rupees in the year 22-23. How many breads do you bake across your 4 kitchens in India? You have one in Delhi, Bangalore, Calcutta, and Mumbai.
Yes. So, total we are baking about 3,500 to 4,000 breads daily. And in terms of for croissants, we are baking about 5 to 6,000 croissants daily.
Wow, that is huge. So tell me, how did you get into baking? You were born in Ambala, you went to school in Missouri, you were very good academically. So where did baking happen?
So, I think this is like one of my wildest dreams. Like, I could have never imagined myself in a food business because growing up, and I was scoring good grades, and always it was put into my head you have to have a good profession like lawyer or an engineer or an MBA or something. But I think it was my love for eating breads which got me into this. And since I'm from Ambala, being a small town girl, so I was always exposed to these square loaves of breads, the white and the brown ones, and they barely had any taste, but still they were my preference over chapati any day. In my head, I was adamant that I wanted to have a career, I wanted to build something of my own, and because I also wanted to break this old age norm of men being the sole bread earners of the family, because that was what I was exposed to more growing up in Ambala. So after my visit to Europe in 2015, that's when I realized this whole fantasy world of these such crazy good breads existed which I had no clue about, and I just wanted to go on and on and on eating them.
So tell us about this lovely holiday. Where did you go in Europe and what breads did you discover?
So ironically, like if anybody hears like I went to Europe and I came across great breads, they would the first thing they would guess is I went to Paris. But the truth is, I've never been to Paris ever still. I was in Italy, Spain, Switzerland. So over there only I came across such great, beautiful croissants, hard breads, and sourdough breads, baguettes, all these things which I never knew existed. And back then, croissants and all these breads were only a part of the five-star hotels in our ecosystem.
So, what happened during this trip in Europe that you decided to come back and open your company? Or were you always a home chef?
The thing is, I was never around the kitchen, never like passionate for baking. Growing up, I had always seen my mom making cakes, but I was always the consumer. I always wanted to do something which, gave me my own identity and, something which I live for. And I came back and I did my market research. So I found that this was a big market gap. There were no croissants available, good quality croissants, and sourdough breads was something which this term was something very unheard of back then because I had only never heard. So then I decided to learn how to make these products. So I got accepted by a baker in US in 2017, early 2017, and I went and I learned everything from scratch. At that point of time, I didn't even know how to weigh a gram of flour. I could barely stand for 2 hours at a stretch on my feet. I could barely pick up 10 kilos of a bag. When I got back after a couple of months to India and totally unaware of the fact that all my recipes are not going to work here. Like that was a big heartbreaking moment for me. I thought it would be super easy. So I bought a small oven and a dough mixer. And again, like without thinking anything, without doing my research, I just bought, and totally unaware of the fact that a typical Indian home like ours would not have the electrical support. Hospitality industry is back then at least was a little looked down upon. Like if I want to tell them I wanted to bake, I wanted to, the common term which comes in everybody's head is, oh, she wants to be a chef. So that was something very unusual, at least for my family, because from the family background I belong to, they were a little worried about, like, if I work so hard physically, I hope it'll be okay being a woman, especially. But overall, I got support, little bit opposition in the initial phase, but when they started seeing my dedication, I think all were in for it.
So, did you find any critique who kind of really helped make the product?
So I think like the first critics I could really find was in my consumers directly. When people started liking my product, as everybody says, charity begins at home. So I started sampling these products to my neighbors and other people in my society. And so there was a point when they were ready to start placing orders with me. They were eager to eat it for breakfast. Then I started collecting orders. I used to bake only once a week. And all these breakfast pastries and breads are a thing when everybody wants them for their morning breakfast. So I had to go at 9 p.m. in the night to the bakery, bake all by myself, everything, and then deliver at 8 a.m. in the morning. So whole of 2017 and even till early 2018, I was the baker alone, and probably only towards the end of 2017 I got one or two person with me.
So, Charlie, what does the term hustler mean to you?
So for me, a hustler is somebody who has a very strong belief in their idea, their product, and it's very important for them to know what they are doing and why they are doing, followed by how they are doing. Once they are clear on these things, the crowd will automatically follow.
You were a one-woman show, and today you have about 250 employees. Take us through the journey.
In 2017 was the year when my brand established, and by late 2017 when my product started going out a little bit in the market, and then I got associated with a couple of cafes who wanted to keep my breads and croissants in their cafes. So 2018 was a very important year for us. That was when our first physical presence was there out in the market. So we started with a small push cart in Cyber Hub. So we made all our croissants available to the public. I won't say it was a big success, because it was a small push cart. We could not generate sales as such, but I think it was very good for brand awareness. And then in 2019, we started a cafe together with Blue Tokai in Basant Vihar. So that's when I feel it was even a bigger push for my brand. 2020 was a year where the demand for this product boomed. Like, it was the time of the Bharat Bandh where everything was forced to be shut, and within a week's time we were just getting so many calls for the demand of the bread. It was then when I realized that this product had hit the market so deeply. People had accepted this product as a part of their everyday lives. It felt super right for the first time that whatever I'm doing is the right thing.
The F&B industry is brutal. What does one need to know before entering it?
First, an entrepreneur should be passionate about the product they're creating. Their self-belief in the product is very important. If, like, for example, me, like, I would sell the product which I will eat every day myself. A product which I will not eat, I would not launch.
Tell us about the biggest challenge and the biggest risk you undertook, and it paid tenfolds.
When I was scaling up, one of the biggest challenges which I faced, and I've also been facing every day, is to get the right team into place. A person who understands the product, a person who knows what we are making and why we are making.
How do you set yourself apart in a crowded market?
So my simple basic funda is that I want to just tell the whole truth transparently, what we are putting in the product, what ingredients you are putting, and just tell the consumer this is what you're consuming. This is my simple funda, and probably this is what is setting me apart.
What advice do you have for all the entrepreneurs out there? How do they find a gap in the market, or if they have an idea, how do they execute it?
Being extra calculative always might not work. It's good to have your calculations and your whole business plan in place. If you're seeing an opportunity, or if you're seeing something ahead of you, please do not hesitate to capture the opportunity. Do not hesitate to work for things yourself from scratch. just start somewhere. You have to start. If you start, you've already taken a very big step in your life. So if you start, you are already 50% through.
I'm a huge fan. Thank you so much for your time. It's like my fangirl moment. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Ambika.